Well, hello everybody. Jason Duff, New Eddy's Revolution. It's a cave. It's where I hang out. It's where I live. It's where I'm the most comfortable. It's the cave, folks, and it's I don't know, what is it today? Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday. That sounds about right. Midweek, and I'm already pumped up. See how I did that? I'm pumped up for the Nup All Night because it's special. And it's getting more and more special as I do more and more of them. This will be our third Nup All Night, and I can't wait because Sunday mornings, as I've said before, is so great. I love Sunday mornings so much with the bowling league and the sleep in and the just great. And now Saturday nights is going to be even more exciting. I might even change up the show. I might add a show. I mean, I'm watching Twilight Zone, and because it's the 50s or whatever, 60s, I don't know, it doesn't have that 80s feel. So I think I'm going to add to the Twilight Zone. I'm going to continue watching Twilight Zone, but I think I'm going to add Monsters, the DVD, the 80s Tales from the Dark Side type show. I think I'm going to add Monsters. I've already seen Tales from the Dark Side twice, or else I'd start that again, but I want to watch a new show. So I think I'm going to bring Monsters down and do Twilight Zone on Nup All Nights. I'm in the mood. I'm in the market for a Hey Do You Remember, but I don't think I'm going to call it Hey Do You Remember because I can't come up with a good title. But what I do want to talk about is, I guess, rules for kids, theories, expectations, beliefs for kids in the 80s versus kids of today. We lived differently, folks. We live differently. And no, it's not just the go-to, we drank water from a garden hose. Yes, of course, we drank water from a garden hose. Yes, of course, we rode our bikes with no helmets. But that goes deeper than that. And I want to talk more about that. So I guess, hey, do you remember different rules? Different theories, different beliefs, different expectations for kids in the 80s versus kids of today. Why did this topic pop up into my head? Well, I took my kid to the doctor yesterday. I took Finley to the doctor. He just turned 8, so he had his annual checkup, I guess, his yearly physical. I don't take the kids to the doctor. Their mother does. I'm usually not available during the day to take them. And she didn't, somehow I ended up taking him. And so I got to go. And I was excited about it. I was excited to take my kid to the doctor. We were going to hang out and go to the doctor. And the doctor brought up, I was looking at some of the pamphlets in the doctor's office, the pediatrician's office, some of the pamphlets, some of the posters on the wall. And some of the posters talked about nutrition, and some of them talked about screen time. And it just got me thinking. It got me thinking about rules and theories and behavioral expectations of children today versus when you and I grew up. And I just started listing a bunch of things in my head, right? Of things that were different then, and we did okay. We came out okay, right? And are we putting, are we making a big deal about things today that we didn't make a big deal about back then? First topic, and so look, some of these are tongue in cheek, some of them are important, but so let's start with nutrition. Let's start with nutrition. My go-to breakfast in my brain for my children, even to this day, is a bowl of cereal. That's the go-to breakfast in my brain. When my kids get up in the morning, in my brain, I expect them to come to the cupboard, grab a bowl, grab the Apple Jacks, pour the cereal, pour the milk, and sit down and eat their breakfast. Maybe throw a piece of toast with some peanut butter on it in the toaster, right? That's where my brain automatically goes to because that was my breakfast of the 80s. All right, I can assure you I do not remember my mother ever waking up on a Monday morning and making eggs for her family or making yogurt with fruit in it for us. It was cereal. And in fact, the cereal commercials reminded us that the cereals were chock full of vitamins and minerals and were part of a what, folks? Part of a nutritional breakfast. That's what the commercials told us, that it was part of a nutritional breakfast. And I can assure you that at no point in time did I ever go to my doctor at 8 years old and have my doctor go, well, is he eating cereal for breakfast? Because let's not do the cereal. Never once. Never once. Never once was it even addressed. Never once. The commercials told us to eat fruits and vegetables. Okay, fine. But things that we ate were never criticized. They were never criticized. My children today, their mother, who you may or may not be familiar with, she has it in her mind that everything they do will cause them to be drug addicts, obese, dead, I think, and it includes breakfast. It includes breakfast. So my kids don't have cereal, and if they do have cereal, they certainly are not having it daily. The kids get. Liam doesn't even eat in the morning. He's not interested in eating. He's got the same morning eating style that I have. I will eat last night's dinner for breakfast. He would love to do that. He's not allowed to do that. But they will have eggs every morning, which I think is, I don't know, is that healthy? Or does it not even matter? Maybe it's perfectly fine. Are we making too big of a deal of nutrition today versus nutrition 40 years ago? All right, we have the same bodies, don't we? We have the same potential to gain weight. Are we more active in the 80s to where, eating a bowl of cereal every morning for breakfast, we were running it off by 10 o'clock in the morning, right? It didn't matter. It wasn't sitting in our guts. And even if it did sit in our guts, is it going to kill us, folks? Is it going to kill us? The portion control, the serving sizes, and the expectation of fruits and vegetables today are much, much, much more monitored than they were back then. Okay? That's one of my points. The doctor at Finley's doctor's office, doctor's appointment, said, well, I talked to his mother. You guys don't do, there's no juice in the house, right? And I went, no, I guess there's not. I guess there's not. And did you come up with this, doctor? Did you tell their mother no juice? Yes. Yes, juice, folks. Juice is on the banned list of food in 2024. Juice. You can't have juice anymore, folks. Do you know how much juice I had as a kid? Grape juice, orange juice, apple juice. We had it all the time. It was the healthy choice. Back in the 80s. That's what you had. You had juice. But now apparently juice is just so much sugar and just kills your children. It just destroys your children's lives before they turn 18. You can't have apple juice in the house. You can't have Welch's grape juice in the house. It's going to kill your children. She said, there's no soda in the house. And I thought, well, no, because I don't drink it anymore, but before this whole throat thing, there was 24 cans of Pepsi in my fridge any given day. And I was drinking them like bottled water. They were going down. And my kids would have a little when they had, but they don't drink soda. I occasionally will bring soda into the house. I do like a nice whiskey and soda from time to time, a nice bourbon and root beer. That's right, root beer. But now soda is illegal. Juice is illegal. Cereal for breakfast is illegal. And I don't know what to do, folks, because it wasn't illegal back then. And I was skinny my whole life. And I don't know. What harm did it do to me? I'll tell you the joys that it did to me. and did to all of us. The pleasure of sitting at the dining room table and reading the box of cereal while we're eating it, that's stuck in our brains. The gut cancer apparently this caused isn't. But the memories of the toy in the cereal box, that's a very fond 80s memory. Screen time, folks. Screen time. That is a modern phrase. Screen time is a word, a phrase that was probably created in the 2000s. We got more screens, I'll give you that. There's a lot more screens for these children to look at. But on that little pamphlet, it said no more than 2 hours of screen time a day, not counting school. Because you can't come home and have more than 2 hours of screen time, which was prime time television for us in the 80s, folks. Prime time television was 2 hours. And we were watching TV from 4 to 5 to dinner time to 6 to 7. Now it's prime time TV. Now our shows are on. And that's 2 hours. Let's not talk about Saturday mornings, folks. We're not even going to go there on Saturday mornings. 2 hours of screen time, folks. That means if you're watching a movie for 2.5 hours, you have to stop it at the 2 hour mark and finish it tomorrow, according to the pediatricians of the U.S. today. But it doesn't include school. You know why? Because teachers got away from writing notes on boards and they give them screens. From what I've heard, my children don't go to school, but every kid that I've ever talked to has an iPad or has a tablet or whatever it's called. And that's where they do their school. So they get 8 hours of school time, of screen time in school, but don't come home and get any more than 2 because it'll kill you. It'll cause cancer. It'll cause drug use. It'll rot your brains. You won't be a functioning member of society if you have more than 2 hours of screen time, according to 2024 doctors. Let's talk about cell phones, folks. What happened to us with the cell phones? Because now the argument for cell phones is, well, you need it in case something happens. I've made that argument for my children. Liam has a cell phone today in case something happens. And I'm not taking it away from him. Don't get me wrong. And this is where kind of the rant ends. The nutrition and the screen time and the soda and the juice, that was a rant. That was a rant. Because I personally believe that anything in moderation is just perfectly fine for you. And you're not going to get cancer from eating Apple Jacks in the morning. You're also not going to get cancer from using a men's deodorant. Okay? I'm tired of this whole natural stuff, that you need this natural deodorant because you're going to get armpit cancer. Well, I'm almost 50, and I think I've been smelling since I was 12, so I've been putting deodorant under my arms for 38 years, and I have yet to develop armpit cancer. I hope I don't get it tomorrow. That would be ironic. But still, we can't have the toothpaste, we can't have the shampoo, we can't have the deodorant because it's got those chemicals in it that's going to cause cancer. When I'm 85, guess what? That's when I'm supposed to die anyway. All right. That rant is over. Now let's talk about cell phones. What happened to us? There was a time, not too long ago, when we made sure that we had an ashtray full of quarters. Right? Why would we need an ashtray full of quarters? Well, so that we can make a payphone call if something went wrong. You know, but now we have to have cell phones in case something happens, in case your tire blows on the middle of the highway. Well, did tires not blow in the 70s and 80s, in the 50s and 60s? Did tires not blow? You know, I get it. I understand it, but why? You know, it's become something that we've created, a fear that we've created. Now, am I wanting to give up my phone? Probably not, because I don't think that the world is set up for us to survive. We'd have to have a major detox, and systems and companies and things would have to change for us to not rely on the cell phone for information, for directions, for whatever. We could do it. It would just take 5 or 10 years of detox for us to go back to normal. Okay, we've been around a long time. Cell phones have existed really primarily, 20 years, 25 years? You know, that's a lot of time before the cell phone existed that we were okay. Cars, folks. I have had children now for 11 years. And I have had more discussions about car seats and booster seats and car seats that grow with your children than I've ever had in my entire life. Um, I stood up in the back of my car in the 80s. When my parents drove, me and my two sisters stood up in the back seat. Now, was that risky? Could we get more hurt by standing up versus being in a car seat? Yeah, probably. But we stood up in the back seat. I don't think seat belts entered the back seat of cars until, what decade? Was it like late 80s, early 80s, 90s? I don't know that they started putting seat belts in the back seats of cars. Maybe they've always been. I don't know. We didn't wear them. We stood up, folks, until my dad yelled at us and then we sat down. But we were fighting and crawling all over each other and we weren't wearing seatbelts. And I'm still here today, strangely enough. But, I just convinced the children's mother that my children don't need car seats anymore. Finley is 97 pounds, folks. Finley's 97 pounds. He can lift the car off of himself if something happens. He's no longer in a car seat. Liam was in a car seat until last year. Liam was 10 years old. No, Liam had when Liam turned 11, he was still in a booster seat. And I don't have a problem with that, okay? But when did it become such a rule? When did it become something that the whole world had to live by? It wasn't before. Cars haven't changed. Drivers hasn't changed. Roads haven't changed. Impact hasn't changed. Speed hasn't changed. But we have to now have this universal rule that these children must be in these seats until they are of certain height and weight. Is it just advancement in research? I'm fine with that. Is it advancement in technology? That's okay. I'm just saying things were different. Things were different, and now they've transitioned into hard and fast rules that cannot be broken that didn't exist over here, right? I understand exploring something and making it optional, but stuff that didn't exist over here is now an absolute must live by rule, or else you will pay a fine. You will be a terrible parent. The Child Protective Services will come take you away. The hospital will not let you have your child. I don't disagree with it. I'm just saying, where did it happen? The bus stop, folks. The bus stop. When did it change? Because the bus stop, when I was a kid, was 8 houses down and had 14 of us standing outside of it. You said goodbye to your mom, you walked down the street, you ran if you were running late, and you just stood there with about 14 or 15 other kids and you waited for the bus to pick you up. Now it is not legal. It is not okay for a bus to pick up kids at a bus stop. You must get picked up in front of your house. And I don't care if you have a next door neighbor that is directly next door to you that shares your driveway with you. The bus is going to pull up and stop again and let this kid on. Then that bus is going to go 2 houses down and stop and let that kid on, because there are no more universal bus stops anymore. Why? When did that happen? I remember us in the wintertime when the snowplow pushed all the snow up into a big hill. I remember us playing King of the Mountain at our bus stop before school. All of us soaking wet by the time we got into school because we were playing on this massive pile of snow that was this far from the road. And yet we all survived, but we were all at a bus stop. Bus stops are gone. Bus stops are gone. You're going to get picked up at your driveway. I don't care where the next kid is standing. You're getting picked up at the driveway. What changed? Why did it change? I don't know. What about kids hanging out alone, folks? I remember not needing my parents to entertain me at all. My 2 sons need entertainment. They don't hang out alone. Liam has been a little bit because he's been more on his phone and watching shorts and listening to his music. So he'll go like kind of hide in his room and do that. The only reason he's hiding in his room to do that is if his mother catches him on the phone, she goes nuts and freaks out, and he's got, okay, so he goes and hides. So I don't think he wants to be alone. I just think he does it to get away with it. But when I moved in with my grandparents at like, I think I was 15 or so, 14, 15. By about 16 or 17 years old, I never came out of my room. I never came out of my room. I would come home from school, I would eat, and I would go up to my room and I would watch television. I would play video games. I would listen to music. I would take a nap. I was running my own life. They'd call me down for dinner. I'd go down for dinner. I'd eat dinner. I'd go back up in my room. And nobody questioned anything, right? If my children today hung out in their rooms by themselves for hours at a time, I would be freaked out. I would be checking on them multiple times. I would be depressed. I would be sad that they're not down here. Why are they doing that? Why are they in their rooms? They must need to go to a psychiatrist. So whatever happened to kids just self-soothing their social needs or their entertainment needs? What happened to kids taking care of their own needs, playing alone, creating things alone, imagination alone, just being alone? That has changed from our generation to this generation. For some kids, I know that there are a lot of kids through the work that I do, and I know a lot of kids still do sit in their rooms, but I think that's more of a mental health. It's become a mental health problem now. To sit in your room alone has now become a mental health problem, right? You have to be out and interacting with everybody or else you're depressed. Some of these kids are depressed. I get it, but what happened? What happened to kids entertaining themselves? That's the rant, folks. That's all I got. I wrote some things down and I just read them off to you. There you go. Times have changed. For the better? No, you know that. We wouldn't have this channel if it were for the better. But put your thoughts down below. Argue with me if you want. It's fine. Question some of the things. If you're a lady and you got kids, I know that you wanted your kids in a car seat until they were 27 years old. I know, and I got love for you. Nothing but respect for you. It's just what changed. What changed? Again, did we get smarter? Did we say, well, wait a minute, this is dangerous? But again, were more kids dying in horribly violent car accidents in the 80s as opposed to 2024? I don't think so. I don't have the numbers, but I don't think so. Anyway, I was feeling ranty today, so there you go. Pickups have come in. Stuff's come in. We got magazines. We got a TV guide to look at. We have bootleg wrestling figures that have come in today. So we'll do a video later tonight to show all the pickups. I'm excited about it. That is all. Good night now.